AFL YouTubers, and today Shorty and I are going to talk about free agency, which is a topic you're very passionate about and suggested. So, what are your thoughts on it, mate? I don't think you're overly keen on either way, but what have you got?
I'm not overly keen on it, mate. I just feel it's not doing the correct job that it was originally brought in to do. I mean, it was originally brought in to, have those fringe players and maybe somebody who wants to go home, not fully have that option, but they can with much more ease. So
yeah, definitely.
Where now you see Hawthorn with the likes of Blake, McAvoy, and now Frawley, and even Geelong as well have done alright. I just feel it's getting those big clubs are just becoming even bigger.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's no incentive, I should say, to go to a Dogs or a Melbourne.
St Kilda.
Yeah, St Kilda. You get to 27, 28, you haven't been too successful in your career so far. You want to get a premiership, buy a premiership maybe, if that's how you want to say it. You go to one of those big clubs who are in the window. So I just feel a reasonable example is if, we got Clark, but if we got Frawley as well, surely that puts us right back in the premiership window, which isn't what is meant to happen. I mean, the draft is meant to have, those top sides get the later picks, and the sides who need those best youngsters in the country, they get first use of them, and that's how it should go. To hopefully not have anything like the English Premier League, and have different sides winning it ideally, and a natural fluctuation in the sides that are in the top four and the bottom four. So they're the basic thoughts on it. I just don't think that when it was brought in, it was a great idea. It gives the player plenty of freedom. But I just feel now it's not being used in that way, and it could allow for a bit of manipulation by the big clubs, because it's not their fault that they're a big club and they've got a big draw card. They're successful, but it could damage the game in that respect. Yeah.
Oh, I reckon it will.
Do you agree with that? Do you have a few thoughts on what it's become?
Yeah, well, players are really taking advantage of the whole situation, I think, and I don't like it for that reason, because the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, as you've probably discussed with yourself.
Yeah.
Doesn't really, favour the not so great clubs, but it certainly decreases the amount of loyal players. Because they can go to St Kilda or Melbourne on $1 million a year, for example. Not sure the logic in that, but I mean, it's either players are going to chase big money or a premiership, and it really does take the luck out of if you in a side that's good enough and you're good enough to get a flag that year. It really does take the surprise packet out of that. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's every footballer's dream, but I almost feel like it's slightly condensed, maybe diluted if they have to go to another club to do it. But yeah, it does frustrate me that loyalty, the players just walk out these days like it's nothing's wrong with it. It's definitely done a lot more, and I mean, there'll certainly be a decrease in the amount of one club players, and
for sure,
which is pretty frustrating. But it's a quick fix solution sometimes, I feel. I mean, the draft is supposed to build you back up when you sort of, I guess, bottom out slightly. And I mean, free agency is just you just get to James Frawley or Brian Lake, and then you nearly don't need another player to take your spot. And that brings me on to the draft. A couple of young blokes, they're on the back foot from the word go, because they can just bring a player that's better than them, already proven, and put them back a couple of years in development. So that affects them too, and I don't like how it does that. I mean, you'd be pretty excited to play footy as an 18-year-old and got to wait 3 or 4 years. It seems to be the way with most of the big clubs, but
they are the prime examples, aren't they? Lake, Frawley, Del Santo and Goddard would be the main ones. All come from those clubs we spoke of, the Dogs, St Kilda and Melbourne.
There you go.
And they're heading to sides that they believe could win a premiership soon, and they've been pretty right in that. North came close and will come close. The Dons have had a horror run, but are an okay side.
Yeah.
Who knows what would happen without the side of things, and of course Brian Lake has done exactly what he wanted to do. Frawley will hope to emulate that. It's not great for the game, I don't think.
No, and Lakey's won 2 premierships for the Hawks, you could argue, because 2011 Showing Makers just couldn't handle Hawkins, and Hawthorn were never they were never a top 2 side. And I'm in full belief that you've got to be a top 2 side, maybe top 3 to be a chance of the flag, as been a long time since someone's won a flag and fourth spot, but yeah, it puts you in the mix. But no, he was sensational. I mean, even though Pav kicked 3 goals on him, he took so many crucial marks and kept Hawkins quiet in 2013 in the final when he was still injured. But yeah, I mean, that's just one of those success stories, and I guess Hawthorn doing well recruiting wise.
Yeah, and you can't blame a player for wanting to get that ultimate dream of a premiership, but you just feel as if it's being done for slightly the wrong reasons.
Yeah, absolutely.
And on top of the fact that the club to get them doesn't really have to give up anything as well.
So
I think that's also one big problem, and there's nothing wrong recruiting and going after a big name and bring him to your club, but you should therefore have to give up pick 5, 25 and Jack Chris. You should have to do that. Brisbane lost a lot and they get a big name.
Exactly.
Where a lot of free agents, like we said with Jared Waite, you can't really lose. He's a risk worth taking because you give nothing up for him, and he could add a lot. If he doesn't, who cares?
Definitely.
Yeah, so I think that could be the main point, and the fact it's not really doing what it was first introduced to do. So.
Yeah. And back onto loyalty. Now, players can move because of monetary reasons. So you get $1 million a year like Tom Boyd, and you're laughing first and foremost. But secondly, it's one of those weird things in the AFL that's frowned upon. People get bagged for it. Tom Scully's a good example as well. With trading to GWS, and also in the modern day and in the real world, people they work somewhere for 10 years and they want to go somewhere else, or somewhere else is offering greater benefits, more pay and all that kind of stuff, and people do it without thinking about it, and which is fair enough. But if an AFL player does it, like they're disloyal and all these other nasty things, and I mean they've only got a limited lifespan of about 15 years playing footy, the highest level. Some it differs for other players, but and fans just hate it, and they shouldn't, because they did the same thing.
Yeah, I suppose so. I guess it's that emotional tie to a club, isn't it? That,
it does.
You have that tie, and the supporters have a tie to you. Your job, you probably don't quite have that emotional thing. Right. But of course, you can't say, blame a fella for wanting a premiership or more coin. But yeah, maybe the frequency and the way it's being done about it could be that sort of point. And just, you mentioned Tom Boyd. I mean, it brings me to the point of, is free agency even required? I mean, Tommy Boyd said, could I get a trade, guys? No, you can't, Tom. I'm going to leave at the end of next year no matter what. Bang. All right, Tom, we'll trade you. I mean, it just seems to he's no free agent. He's been at the club 1 year.
Yeah.
You just feel, and it does happen more, if the club becomes aware, the player makes them aware that they want to leave, well, it's in the club's best interest because they want to get something for him while they can.
Yeah, for good reason.
And even if they keep him, you doubt they're going to play as good a footy, and a bit of unrest amongst the player and club. So, is free agency required from that respect? Maybe not, because I think more and more the player is starting to
dictate the game.
Yeah, make their own destiny rather than you do what a club says.
Yeah, it's certainly switched, that's for sure. And Jared Pollock's another good example. He's barely played a couple of games, and I think 16 games for Brisbane or something like that. And I want to go to Port Adelaide. It's like that wouldn't have happened 30 years ago. I mean,
They'd say, "Who are you?"
Absolutely.
You're choosing a club, so it's changed, hasn't it?
Oh, it changes every couple of years, but no, some good thoughts there, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Top stuff.
It's an interesting topic.
Oh, he loves it. So, yeah, those are some thoughts from Shorty and myself on free agency, and we don't tend to look upon it too great. Not the biggest fans of it, because it just favours the rich clubs, and money talks as well. So
it does.
It certainly helps for some of the players, but. Feel free to comment any thoughts you have on free agency, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to us. That'd be fantastic if you could, and Twitter accounts in the description below. Thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you all soon.